and this is the Oracle Podcast. And today we have an excellent guest back with us. He's going to be more of a permanent figure around here, hopefully. We've got Brandon from Kuyon Reader. What's up, dude? Thanks for coming on.
Same old, same old. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, of course, man. So, uh, why don't we start off by you just telling us a little bit about what your holiday season looked like and that sort of thing.
Chaos.
Yeah, I'm
um,
sure.
I have three kids, so I'm still recovering from Christmas time, and then the Stranger Things finale. That's a
Oh
whole
man, that was
conversation.
crazy. Yeah, we'll get to that later in the pod. But
Yeah. But other than that, just working and reading and doing as much as I can.
nice. Did you what was the coolest bit of bookish or like nerd related Christmas present that you got?
It's funny you say that because that gives me a chance to shout them out. So I have three kids. I'm a single dad, so I don't ever expect a lot of amazing gifts from my kids, which is
Hmm.
fine. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
My middle daughter got me a trilogy, a Robin Hobb trilogy. I got big into Robin Hobb's universe, Realm of the Elderlings, in the last couple weeks, and so she got me. I forget which one it is. It's one I haven't even heard of. I know there's like 16 books in all, but
Mm.
my oldest daughter, who claimed all my gifts were in the mail, did send me two Funko Pops, and then my friend Clint got me this beauty right here, which is the first deluxe set of Vinland Saga. Which,
Oh, dude, that's sweet.
yeah, if anybody knows anything about me, I'm obsessed with Vinland Saga because I mean it's two of my favorite things in one, anime and history. So
Hmm.
it's a pretty cool guy. I got him something pretty nice back, so I think we're even. But still,
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. Uh, that's honestly an incredible gift. I
it is
got
pretty
a
awesome.
really yeah, I got a really nice set of dice that are like a 6 shooter revolver that every bullet in them is like a different die. So like there's D20 and stuff in there. It's really cool. I might bring it out here in a little bit, but it's kind of put away at the moment. So um, we just kind of finished our so I've been working a bunch of weekends, and we just kind of finished putting our house back together after the week's craziness. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But
It's the
for
recovery
today,
process.
yeah, exactly. Reset Sunday. Um, for today, we have a big prophecy that is the Percy Jackson and the Olympians season 2, episode 6. We're going to talk about that in a lot of detail. And then for our little prophecy, we are going to, or for some of our side quests, we are going to do a top 5 like media of any type of 2025. And then we're going to do a draft of any characters that we read or consumed in 2025. So this could be anything that you read in 2025. It doesn't have to have come out in 2025.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. Uh, do you want to go ahead and start with your kind of ranking and your thoughts of Percy Jackson and the Olympians season 2, episode 6, and kind of what you thought of the season so far? Because I really haven't gotten to talk to you on the pod since it started.
I know we haven't really gotten to go into it. It's a very good season. I think it has. You can see the imprint of the concept of making the story their own a little bit, and I try
Mm-hmm.
so hard not to get into the little minutia that get changed. But it's been a very good season, and I liked episode 6. I think we're kind of building to the climax, and I'm trying to be okay with the little tweaks. They're hard to because I'm kind of my mindset is I'm used to it. I probably shouldn't have reread the books before the show started, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's I get it. Like I feel like Cersei got kind of like the Medusa treatment from season 1, where they made her a more nuanced, complex character. I'm not super huge on the humanization of Luke. I don't really like that as much. Like, I feel like he's
Mhm.
not as, and I get, you want more of a morally gray bad guy. You don't want him to just be straight up evil, like I feel like he is in the books. In the books, it always just feels like he's a kid pitching a temper tantrum. And in the show, they try to make it more about the struggle. And I'm not against it. I like him when he's a little more black and white.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to root for Percy, and like there are a lot more people who might even root for Luke in this season, and
Exactly.
the Lucabeth shippers are going to be going absolutely crazy, and they are going absolutely crazy. I listened to another podcast that talks about the show too. Shout out Two Wise Girls. They were talking all about how there is this whole subsection of people who are really shipping Luke and Annabeth, especially at this point, and people who haven't like read the books who are doing that. And it's just wild to see, like, especially with some stuff that we find. By the way, before we get too far into it, blanket spoiler warning for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, possibly Heroes of Olympus and everything. I almost forgot to do that, but I'm likely to slip up and say some spoilers. So spoiler warning if you want to go ahead and go into this without any future knowledge. I will try to avoid spoilers, but
yeah, they're impossible. It's inevitable.
Yeah, I've read these
especially
books
when you're passionate about something. When you're that invested, it's hard not to just like blurt things out.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm completely with you though. The changes that they make, I like some of them, and I really do like appreciate what they're trying to do and making the show their own with the little bit of changes and stuff that they're doing. But at the same time, I'm with you where why not stick a little bit closer to the material of the book? Like it's great for some reason, and it's so beloved by so many people. You would earn so much goodwill with the fans. But again, I also understand that they're trying to make their
new
own
fans too. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I kind of feel like we're getting a little bit of the rewrite from old Uncle Rick. He's kind of going through and fixing some of the stuff that, because like he's very heavily involved in the production of the show, so you can kind of almost see where he has switched things around to where like things that he wished that he would have done on the first rewrite. So you can see that influence in it too.
Mm-hmm. So what's the biggest change that's irked you the most?
Oh, the change so far that has irked me the most, man.
It's a tough question.
I don't know. Yeah, I miss the bubble. Like the way that Percy saves Annabeth from the sirens in the book is pretty iconic, and
Yeah.
I like the way that it's set up in the show, and I get that they talk specifically about this in an interview that they did a couple weeks ago. That a lot of the changes come from the fact that we aren't in Percy's head, so we can't know what his inner monologue is saying, and so it's hard to get some of those thoughts and get some of that same information. So they have to make some of these changes to explicitly say, like Percy has to explicitly say some of the things that he would just think about or know in, or like monologue about in his own head. So a lot of those changes, but I think that the bubble scene being missing is a big miss. And then I feel like I feel like every character, like every antagonist being sympathetic, like you said, I feel like makes it lacking for a black and white villain. I do think that Luke needs to be a little bit more openly antagonistic or openly hostile or like Polyphemus is even shown to be like a sympathetic character in this last episode too, and he's a straight up monster. Like and obviously he does a lot, like he has a lot done to him by Odysseus and by Percy, but and by Annabeth, but he is a monster in the Odyssey. He is offered peace and he's offered a peaceable way to get out of that, and they offer him compensation for killing his sheep, and he doesn't take it, and he kills a bunch of Odysseus's men. So,
and he eats people.
And he eats people.
Yeah, that was that's my one, the overcomplication of characters, values, roles, motivations. I feel like in the show, and even all the way back into season 1, we seem to, and like the beauty of Greek mythology is that the gods are very flawed people. They're not the good guys per se, but we've almost kind of, I feel like in the original mythology and in the original books, we're like they're good, but, and in the shows we're more like they're bad, but.
Yeah.
It just like, and I don't want to be super old fashioned. I just feel like there should be a bigger gap between the good versus evil when you're talking about a classical tale, the way Percy always played in my head. It's almost like it's the new, I don't want to say new age because it makes me sound old, but it's the newer way of storytelling where I feel like we're digging more into the bad guys' motivations than the good guys' motivations.
Yeah, for sure. It's all of your antagonists having a sympathetic backstory. It's people rooting for Thanos in in Infinity War because he seems like a sympathetic villain, and it seems like every story is going that way. And sometimes you just want a mustache twirling bad guy. Sometimes
Exactly.
you just want someone to be evil.
I'm all for a morally complex role. Don't get me wrong. I just would rather you make a new role, not morally complicate the roles we've already established.
Yeah. Luke, especially in this book, is meant to be like turn, and I think that we will get this in the next 2 episodes. I think that we will get Luke's full turn into the darkness and into the evil. But Luke is meant to be a very antagonistic and hostile force in this book. The last one was where he can be a little bit morally questionable, a little bit morally gray. But in this book, because in that point, he's still really trying to recruit Percy and he's trying to sway him to his side. But in this one, he not only endangers Thalia's life by poisoning her tree, he endangers everyone at camp by weakening the boundary. He basically dooms the whole gang when he leaves them on the island and takes the fleece, and like he's just a bad guy in this book. And in the show, he seems to have like pretty good motivations for lots of the stuff that he does. And not to say that he doesn't, like his motivations seem very clear in the book. Like you are shown why he does the things that he does, but it's obvious that he's wrong in the books. Whereas in the show, they've complicated it more and they've made it more seem like, well, who am I really supposed to root for here? Because these gods are not great people, so why should I root for them to win this war?
And I feel like they did a decent job at the beginning of the season conveying this, but to me, at the end of the day, Luke is a kid with dad issues pitching a temper tantrum, willing to destroy the world because he's mad at his father, and Hermes in the book does a better summarization to me. Like the show did really well doing it. I just feel like because it's a book, there's more exposition that like by the point that this has happened, Hermes is pretty much just like, give me a chance to save him, even though I think he pretty much knows it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's playing on that sympathy,
I think the line you're thinking of is you can never give up on family, no matter how tempting they make it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Luke does make it very tempting for him in this book by endangering all of his other children, by fighting actively against him. And let's not forget that Percy is not that far away from him, especially at the beginning of the book when he feels like Poseidon has dumped his Cyclops brother on him and isn't showing him signs or isn't giving him a blessing, and doesn't show up to personally tell him that he approves his quest, but he sends Hermes instead. Percy has some very serious dad issues in this book as well, and you would think that he would be more connected than ever to his dad in this book, because it's all like large portions of the show
In the
are
sea.
set in the sea, exactly.
Right.
And so you would think that he would be very present, but he's very absent from the story. And I think that is it makes it very clear that Percy is choosing actively to stick with his dad, whereas Luke, like Percy's put in an even worse seeming situation than Luke is, and he still chooses to side with the gods and to side with the other demigods and decide with them. Whereas Luke, he was obviously put in a tough situation, but his dad is still actively trying to keep him on the right side, whereas Percy is always on the right side, even when it doesn't seem like his dad is on his side. So it's a fun thing about choice.
Yeah, and as a parent, and as a person who was a child at one point, I think they do a decent job in encapsulating the concept of like you don't see what your parents do for you behind the scenes. And that's my thing with Poseidon is he's always there pushing somebody to help. He just doesn't want to be seen as showing favoritism. I think Hermes cares a little bit less. He's perfectly fine, because he's not quite as important as Poseidon is in the role of, on Olympus. But, it's just kind of one of those things. It's like when you're a kid and you don't think your dad was ever at a game, and then you find all your newspaper clippings in a binder or something, you're like, he was there the whole time. He just,
Yeah.
And it's hard to convey that stuff sometimes. So I get it. And I think I do. They do a really good job of making Percy and Luke like opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah,
Which
they're
is
very
good
nice
for
foils
choice.
for each other.
Yeah. You're presented with the option, and Percy went left, Luke went right. But I also agree that Percy's was way worse than Luke got. I mean, I know Luke had a bad hand, but it wasn't a Percy-sized bad hand. Being a son of the big three seems to be way harder on you than.
Yeah. Well, and everyone wants to go after Percy. Everyone is constantly talking about, especially in the books, they're like Athena counsels the council. Yeah, it would probably be more prudent if we just smite Percy into a pile of ashes right away. It would be more prudent if we do that. Zeus really wants to smite Percy in the first one. I think that one of the worst things that they have done for the book is, and I'll talk about this again, but not like having them miss the deadline in the last book sets a dangerous precedent that the gods do not hold people accountable for their actions, and makes them look so much weaker than they do in the books, because like the gods of the books would have smited Percy just because he missed the deadline. There would have been war on Olympus just because he missed the deadline, and Percy and them getting back after the deadline just kind of sets up a dangerous thing where the gods aren't this big threat looming over Percy's head the whole time. He is he in the books, he is constantly being threatened by the gods, and everyone is like, hey, you better watch your step, or else we might just smite you anyway, because you're too dangerous to be left alive. And
well,
in the
like
books,
the whole
it
arch
doesn't
thing.
seem like they. Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't go in the sky, dude. Do not go in the sky if you value your life. And in the show, I don't think they convey that as well.
No, they really don't. But And anything else specifically from episode 6 that you want to talk about, or anything else from the rest of the season that you want to talk about?
I mean, other than, and I read an article the other day from the director who was saying, he wanted to make like Tyson's character is a little different, and Tyson was always one of my favorites. And I actually will give them credit. I think I like the show Tyson just a touch more, but they
Mhm.
made him more articulate. They gave him more intelligence, and the creator was like he didn't want them to be viewed as like people with mental disabilities, or and that's
Mhm.
why Polyphemus is. But then at the same time, I'm always triggered by this because I was a huge Spider-Man fan as a kid. And you remember the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, which I love because they
Yeah.
make fun in the newest movie. But the director came out before the first movie, and he was like, I gave him organic webbing because I felt like it was too unbelievable to have a teenage boy be able to create the kind of technology you needed to swing on webs. And it's like, you're making a movie about a kid who can climb up walls, and you're worried about
Yeah,
realism.
that's
You
well,
know,
and I have a whole tirade about that specific quote, but I'm gonna save it for another time. We'll do a Spider-Man deep dive into some of that, but it's Peter Parker. That's the whole point. Is he's supposed to be able to almost go head
he
to
is.
head with Reed
He's a
Richards,
functional
and
genius.
yeah, he's like almost Reed Richards levels of intelligence. So I
Mhm.
anyway back to Percy Jackson for a
That
while.
was the best analogy I had because if you can't tell, I'm still holding a grudge.
I can tell. um, uh, I really like the setup in this scene where Percy has to give Luke the fleece through the door. I think that is a really well done scene because it shows how fiercely and how much Percy cares about Annabeth, and it puts into action the sentiment that he expressed in the last episode that he would burn Olympus down to save Annabeth if he had to. He gives the
Mhm.
fleece to Luke in order to save her. So I think that is like showing and telling that they are doing both. And they are showing just how much Percy cares about his friends and about Annabeth specifically, that he is willing to endanger the entire fate of Olympus and the entire fate of camp in order to save Annabeth. So
Agreed, which is nice to see.
yeah, that's such an important. They've done a lot of things wrong in the show. I feel like a lot of the changes that they made have been bad, but one of the things that I feel that they have really done well is the big three's characterization and their relationships to each other. Percy and Grover feel like best friends. Annabeth and Percy feel like they are friends, like they were enemies, and then they have grown into friends, and there's the door open to it becoming something more. So I really like those three's relationship because that is the core of the story. That's why this story
Mhm.
is so great, is because Percy is not willing to give up on Annabeth at any point. That's the whole premise of the next book, which we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. But the whole premise of that is that Percy is going after Annabeth against all odds, against the rules of questing, against everything. He is going after Annabeth. And so I feel like that is such a key tenet of his character. And I'm glad that they've established that correctly, at least.
Agreed. It's a little more deeper for them in the show, and it's a translation from books to shows, and it's a whole nother thing. Like I remember reading an article where there was an author that was like, never do first person's perspective if you ever want to have a TV series or movie made about your book, because you can't
Yeah.
convey, like you were saying, you can't convey inner thoughts. You can't. That whole monologue is cut off, and so to be able to set up the relationships the way they do without being in his head and knowing exactly how he feels, I think they did that really well.
Yeah. And people have complained about the I burn Olympus down part because um, they think that uh, like it ruins the stakes of the gods like in the next book they have the council about whether they should just destroy Percy or let him live, and they're like, well, like obviously they're not going to do that because Percy has just said that he would burn Olympus down to save Annabeth, and so they're not going to take that risk. But they have to do something to establish the relationship, because you cannot simply know in his head that he is like how he feels about Annabeth. So
Yeah, and I mean, they took away from the god fear with that line a lot. I understand, the concept of being annoyed by that, but again, it's a translation issue.
yeah, I completely understand why people like why some people don't like the show. Some of the cinematography stuff is kind of bland. Like it's a Disney TV show, so it's kind of, it looks gray. It's not as colorful as I would like it to be, and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I'm really enjoying the show. Despite any of the problems that I've had with it, I still really enjoy my favorite book series getting a
Hmm.
fairly accurate adaptation. So I'm really not going to complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to set a threshold of expectation. If you're getting 70 to 80% straight from the book, you're doing pretty well. I mean, you could have the movies. So, you know,
It could be an amusement. Cersei's Island could be an amusement park.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they could find Grover in somewhere he's not supposed to be. That's a whole other story, though.
Yeah, or they could have Kronos eat Luke at the end of this series, which they still might. You never know. The last two episodes are not live yet. They could
That's
epically
true.
fumble this bag. They could
Could have
absolutely
him
ruin. I don't think
fuse
they
like a
will.
Power Ranger or something.
Yes, exactly. I don't think they're going to do that. I think that they are. I think they're doing a great job so far. So I don't think that they're going to drop the ball with the last two episodes. But yeah,
Knock on
fingers
wood.
crossed.
Here we go. We're gonna knock on
Yeah.
the dresser. Knock on wood.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Oh, another thing that I really like from this episode is the Tyson Polyphemus fight. I think that um, Tyson being shown to be like this incredibly strong, capable character who really just, like he says, like Polyphemus has him like pinned down at one point, uh, and Tyson is like, please, please. And Polyphemus is like, what, you're begging for mercy? He's like, no, please don't make me hurt you. And he just
Yeah,
absolutely starts
yeah.
whooping on Polyphemus.
I
I
do. I
really like
love
that
Tyson
part.
in this. I
Yeah.
love TV version of Tyson a lot. Um,
Yeah.
he's not as nerfed, because I think in the books they're always calling him. He always calls him a baby or something, doesn't he? When
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. Like
in,
he's just a young Cyclops or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. And I love that actor. I really do. I was talking to a friend about goofy fan casting for like the Farseer trilogy, and I was like, I think he'd be a good fit.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know
I,
about Robin Hobb, but
I do not know that much about it. I'm wanting to get into it's on my list at some point, but I don't know if you've seen my videos, but I'm starting Wheel of Time this year. That's going to be my big series for the year, like Cosmere was last year. So
you're a brave man.
yeah,
I still have not finished Wheel of Time. I think I've read the first four. It's a very long, very exposition-filled series, and I keep hearing that you have to finish because they say Sanderson saves it in the end.
that's what I've
But
heard too. Yeah,
I and I really enjoyed the first two books really a lot, and then I need to get back to it. I think I just kind of gave up because I didn't have the mental fortitude that I probably do now. Because now
yeah.
I enjoy a more descriptive read than I did when younger. I wanted action. I wanted all that. That's
Let's see.
probably why like 20-year-old me probably wouldn't have liked the Farseer trilogy as much as I do now.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that young you probably wouldn't have liked Tolkien describing a tree for a page and a half?
Honestly, I struggled when I was younger. The first time I
I
read it,
I've
definitely.
I struggled so hard when I read Lord of the Rings the first time, it was tough to get through, but I love the movie, so I was like, I want to get all of this, and then
Yeah.
I read the Silmarillion and all of it. So
Yeah. I've only read the basic trilogy and The Hobbit, and I think it's because I read The Hobbit first that I had a hard time with Lord of the Rings originally.
yeah.
Because don't judge me too harshly. I think when the first Lord of the Rings movie came out, I was like maybe 11. I don't remember exactly, but my brother took me to see it, and I sat in the theater and I was like, "What's a Frodo? Where is Bilbo?" Because I had only read The Hobbit at that point.
Oh
And
yeah.
this is before the internet was a big thing. This is back in the dial-up days.
I was
My mom
born
was
the
not
same
happy.
year as I was born the same year as Fellowship of the of the Ring came out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was born before it by a pretty fair margin, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm apparently look younger than I am, so I'll take it as a
Oh,
compliment.
you're young at heart. um, and any more thoughts on Percy Jackson before we move into the next couple segments?
Now I'm anxious to see the next episodes, and I'm cautiously optimistic still. I think we're
Yeah,
doing pretty good though, so
I'm very happy with what they've done so far. I need them to land the ship with these uh, next two episodes. I there's some scenes in this next one that I hope are as epic as they're described as in the book. And so I am very excited for that, and I'm excited to
yeah.
see how they resolve it. We've already gotten some glimpses of Thalia, so I'm excited for well, spoilers, but her return, and the lead into the next season of that. I'm just so excited for the next, like this season is really good, and I'm really excited for the next two episodes. But I'm really excited to see them set up season 3 and see where they're gonna go with that. So here's to the next two episodes and season 3 being great.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, no kidding. Do we want to take a quick minute to talk about because we didn't really have this slotted in. Do we want to take a quick few minutes to talk about this Stranger Things finale and that finishing up, or is it on your top 5 list? Slight spoilers.
It's not on my top 5 list.
Okay. Let's take a minute to talk about it for a minute. What did you think about the ending of Stranger Things, and did you watch it all as it was coming out, and kind of what were all of your general thoughts?
Okay, so this is one of the shows that I've watched, I think, from day one for my middle daughter. She's 17 now, but it's very near and dear to her heart. She loves Stranger Things, and I have to say, I'm not going to put it on the scale of like Game of Thrones disappointment or like Dexter disappointment or Lost. Those are all terrible endings.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very disappointed. She was too. Once the nostalgia and once the wave of emotion of it ending wore off, like the next day I was taking her to work and she was like, Dad, that really wasn't a very good episode. And I was like, I didn't want to say anything, because, you got some closure, but I don't. So the Thanksgiving episodes were really good.
Yes,
The
they were
Christmas
so good.
episodes
Were bad. They were bad.
it
The
was a
part
steady
2.
decline for
I
sure.
hated I hated those Christmas episodes. I really did not enjoy them. I thought that they wasted so much time in those episodes that they could have spent setting up the finale to make it better and to
Way
get
more
us more
impactful.
close. Yeah, and like again, they just wasted so much time. They should have been already battling the Mind Flayer at the beginning of the finale so that you could have had more time for an epilogue to cover more characters and do more stuff with that. Again,
The funny thing is, I I agree completely, but at the same time, with the 2 hour long finale, I felt like they rushed the action so much. They should have, like you said, they should
Yeah,
have been fighting in the one before. And then, you get your closure, you get your montage of where everybody winds up. But I just like when Vecna was defeated, my daughter was like, "Yes." I'm like, "Well, don't get too excited. There's still 53 minutes left." And I
yeah.
don't know what I expected from those 53 minutes, but I did not get what I expected.
No, they didn't resolve the government plot at all. They didn't resolve, like they cut away in the middle of that action scene. They didn't like they said, oh yeah, it was shown to be an earthquake, but like they didn't actually like explain like, oh yeah, the government was run out of town, or they threatened to expose everything they were doing.
Yeah,
Like
they were just gone.
they're just gone with hardly any explanation. So that was the part that felt the most egregious to me. And then the like you said, there's still being an hour left, and the battle was over. I think you either need to put some of that battle, like extend the battle and have some demogorgons and stuff in it, and start it in the third episode of the second part, or you need to cut out some of the epilogue. But like having an hour long epilogue and the final battle being just half of that episode does not work for me.
Yeah, there way too many plot holes for me. Way too many questions left unanswered.
Yeah.
Um, like, are we implying that Karen killed all the Demogorgons? Is that why they're not really part of the final battle whatsoever? Are there only two
Yeah.
of them? They felt like a lot more when they were on the base,
Yeah.
but
Well, we were shown a bunch more, but like Will can of yoinked them all. Like I really, yeah, I
and I'm
that
showing my age here, but when the mind flayer's legs opened up, and he starts walking, I was like, is this
uh-huh.
Wild Wild West? There's a giant spider now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
anticlimactic is the word I would use.
No, I that battle did feel anticlimactic, and I kept expecting, like I was waiting the whole time for them to have like almost beaten Vecna, and then like a army of um gosh dang demogorgons to like come up over one of the hills or something like that and come like reinforce him. Like I was waiting for that to happen, and it never happened. So maybe that's on my own expectations, but like I want it to make sense too. Like where are all the demogorgons? It just doesn't make any sense. But
And,
I
like, are they not getting any credit for saving the universe like 15 times?
yeah. Well, and the other thing is I love the final shot. Like I think that final shot is incredible with them all putting up their D&D books. Like that is one of
Hmm.
the most emotional things and ways that you could have ended it. But would it not have hit so much harder if the battle before it was better and more impactful and everything like that? If you actually made the stakes matter, like that they are such
Yeah, yeah. If the stakes were way
cowards.
higher.
And they're cowards for like they kill off a character and then don't even kill her off. They I
But
hated that
did they? And
choice.
we're all just imagining it. I don't. That's the thing. I hate open-ended endings like that. Like, is she alive? Maybe, maybe not. I feel like what they do that to try to leave themselves room for a sequel or something at some
Uh,
point. It seems more monetized
and
at that point.
yeah, and I hate it. I really don't enjoy that aspect of the ending. So that was a big negative for me. Overall, I really did like when I first watched the finale, I was like 10 out of 10. This is the best episode of television I've ever watched, just because I was sucked up in the emotion of it.
Hmm.
Like you, I've watched it since day one. I remember the last D&D campaign that I played with my high school friends, and like that was getting me emotional during the whole thing. And like I was sucked into the emotion, but on rewatch and rethought, I found a lot of things to dislike about the episode. So there's that.
Yeah, it left a lot to be desired, and it kind of killed the franchise, in my opinion. Like, if they did a sequel
Yeah,
now, I'm not sure I'm going to be hyped about it.
I don't want them to do any more like that. That was a fine enough ending for. I don't need more Hawkins. I don't need a sequel series with the younger siblings. Don't care.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe give me a rom-com where Dustin goes to college and he gets kicked out and has to go live with Steve. Past that, I don't want to see anything else.
That would be awesome. That
Yeah.
the Steve and Dustin relationship continues to be awesome. I love that Steve is a baseball coach and that he's teaching sex ed. I think that's hilarious.
Hmm.
I think that whole aspect of it was awesome. There's a lot of good stuff in this. Like I love the resolution and the wrap up, but the episode itself and the structure of the season is really frustrating to me because they just wasted so much time. Like it was the uh, I didn't watch the Christmas episodes when they came out because I was waiting for my friends to get back. So I was like, okay, we're sitting down for 6 hours of Stranger Things. Man, this is going to be like, I don't know if I'm ready for this much hype and this much action and this much excitement. And then for the first 5 hours, it felt like just set up for the final episode. Like that there was some action and there was some stuff with the Demodogs going after Max, but like for the most part, it was a lot of filler. It felt like a lot of filler and a lot of setup. And so that was really disappointing. And then sucked into the emotion of it. Um, and so that was
Oh yeah,
unfortunate.
for sure.
Yeah. Any last before we move on to our top fives of the year?
No, no. I think we summarized it pretty well.
All right. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and go first, and I will let you give your top five pieces of media for 2025. This can be anything: books, movies, TV shows, mangas,
Well,
anime, anything you want.
I'm going to, of course, kick it off with the Red Rising series, which I read all in 2025 for the first time.
Yeah.
So we're going to go Red Rising is number one. I'm going to keep it in the book realm. I'm going to put Project Hail Mary up there. Oh, see now I'm running out of space already. I have my list, but I don't. My list is I put more than five. Um,
Yeah.
I'm a huge anime guy, you know that. So I'm gonna have to put Frieren up there.
Okay.
I think it should have, and I am a diehard solo leveling fan, but I think
I
Frieren
love
might have
solo
should have
leveling.
won anime of the
Yeah.
year, and that's saying a lot
I
coming from me because I mean I got a solo leveling poster right there behind the phone. Like
yeah.
it's near and dear. The book, the manhwa, the show, everything. Um, but that's going to be my number four. I'm going to throw Solo at number four.
Okay.
And then, honestly, I got to go with a show I've seen a lot of. And I'm pretty sure it ended in 2025 at the beginning of the year. But I got to put Ted Lasso up there, man. I love Ted Lasso.
I love Ted Lasso.
I feel myself a lot in the Ted Lasso caricature, of the, optimism hiding the anxiety kind of, it's good stuff. And
Yeah.
that's five. That's what I'm gonna stick with those five because I'll start changing them if I think more into it. So let's just stop
Yeah.
there.
All right. Well, why don't you just list them quick one more time?
Okay,
Just
so we got
quick.
Red Rising, Project Hail Mary, which it eked past Realm of the Elderlings, eked past Farseer Trilogy just because I haven't finished the third book. Royal Assassin is a really good book, but it has a very Golden Sun ending. If you know, you know.
Mm.
I'll leave it at that. But it's
Oh
very
no.
frustrating
Oh
ending.
no.
Um, so then we're gonna go Freerun, and then
Mhm.
Solo, and then Ted Lasso.
All
I
right.
think.
I love it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Tentative top 5.
Yeah, I love it. For me, my top 5 projects of the year, at number 5, I'm going to go with Avatar: Fire and Ash. I loved this movie. It was one of the most amazing cinematic experiences of the year. The reason that it is not higher on this list for me is the fact that it is repetitive. It is so repetitive of to the first two avatars. It straight up copies scenes from the first two, so that was really frustrating to me. The the repetitiveness brings it down quite a bit, but the introduction of the Mongquan tribe and Varang and stuff really was engaging. So I really enjoyed it. It was a great movie, but it is at my number 5 for the year. At number 4, I am going to go with. I want to put that at number 4. Yeah, I'll go with number 4. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Demon Slayer. I caught up on all of Demon Slayer at this point. I started watching it in 2020 at the beginning of 2025, and I watched all the way through Infinity Castle now. So amazing anime.
I'm a day oneer. I remember watching the first episode subtitled because I was just so hyped from reading the book.
It's incredibly good. Anime is. I'm new to anime, so that's why it's a little bit lower on this list. And
I'm your guy. You need more Rex right here.
I know. I'm definitely going to be coming to you for more this year, but I like started listening to like Otaku's Anonymous and like that whole deal, and those two goobers. But
it's a black hole, man. It is. It's a vast hole to fall into.
I'm sure that it will consume more of my time than I need it to. But my top 3 projects are all in the Cosmere, and I probably could have ranked these like the entire Cosmere at number 1, but frankly, it's 26 books, so I feel that ranking the 3 is relevant enough. At number 3, I'm going to go with. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arcanum Unbound. It is the collection of all of Brandon Sanderson's short stories that are within the Cosmere. So he has a bunch of stuff that's not in the Cosmere and a bunch of stuff that is in the Cosmere. And all of his Cosmere ones he put together into a book called Arcanum Unbound. And it is an incredible group of short stories. It has amazing tales from different worlds and different universes. It was one of my favorite reads of the entire year. At number 2 on my list, I'm going to go with Mistborn. Mistborn is an incredible world. Scadrial is an incredible place to get to visit on the pages of books. The magic system is so much fun. It is so fun to see the ways that he continues to play with it and the ways that it has continued to twist and turn, and the mythology and the lore of the worlds are incredible, and the way that it ties into the greater Cosmere is so much fun. I'm so excited to see the continuation of that with Ghost Bloods in 2028. I can't remember exactly. Whenever the next Mistborn novel comes out, I am excited to see it. And at number 1, this is probably no shock to anyone, but my number 1 project of 2025 is the Stormlight Archive. Give me magic with swords and armor about deep philosophical topics and deep mythological and magical things that are tied together with themes of honor and oaths and freedom and religion, and it is going to be right up my alley. I series so much. I have already reread it once, and I plan to continue to reread it as like a secondary series as I go through Wheel of Time this year, because it is I just couldn't put them down until I was all the way finished with them. So that is my number one of the year.
I hear nothing but good things about those. I still need to read the Sanderson books. I'm so far behind.
They're so good, and honestly, don't get intimidated by how many are out there. It's just just pick one up, and like when you're done with a series or at a stopping point with a series, pick one up, because if you can get through Mistborn, like if you like Mistborn, you'll probably just get sucked in and read the whole thing.
I don't mind that at all. And I don't mind having one I can go to as like a default. Like, okay, I'm up with this one. I need to read another one of these books.
Yeah. And the fun thing is you can kind of bounce back and forth between like the Mistborn books and the Stormlight books. That's what I did when I was reading the first few. And then I went, once I was done with those, then I went back out and read all of the like smaller stories and stuff. So that was really fun. So for my top 5, at number 1, I had the Stormlight Archive. At number 2, I had Mistborn. At number 3, I had Arcanum Unbound. At number 4, I had Demon Slayer. And at number 5, I had Avatar: Way of Water. Let us know what you think of our lists down in the comments. And we're going to move on to the next segment, which is drafting our top 5 characters that we read or consumed or watched in 2025. And I will let you decide whether you want to go first or get 2 picks second.
We're going snake draft. Then I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. For my first pick, I'm going to pick. Yeah. And do you want to do a theme? Yeah. You know, I will let you pick, since I came up with the idea, I will let you pick the theme of the draft. So pick an objective that this group of characters has to complete.
I was ready for this. I want a storm the castle scenario with supporting characters only.
Supporting characters only? All right.
Yeah, no Darrows, no Tanjiros, no Jinwoos. Okay. You got to go supporting cast only. Because I'm a sucker for a good supporting character.
I do love a good supporting character. Okay. For my first round pick, I am going to go. Dang. I don't know. Are we counting Severo as a supporting character?
Yeah, as long as it's not from a main perspective. Okay. Which, in that world would be Darrow. So
yeah. I will pick Severo Albarca.
I was afraid of that.
Give me.
But I was prepared.
Give me hiding in a horse for my first round pick.
Smart pick. Okay. If we're doing a storm the castle scenario, I have to go. If you went Severo, I got to go Cassius, right? I got to go Cassius.
Yeah, you have to go Cassius.
Because in all due fairness, in a head-to-head fight, I think Cassius could take Severo unless Severo's tricky.
I definitely think that in a straight up like combat scenario, I think that Cassius.
We're talking like in a pit, razors only, no sneaky stuff. I think Cassius has him beat. Number 2, I'm gonna go. And you got to wait for season 2 of the anime or season 3 of the anime to come out to really get a background on him. But I'm going Baru from Solo Leveling because he is the most powerful shadow.
All right.
Yeah, because he's just all out pure energy. I mean, come on, he was popping people's heads off who were supposed to be S-ranked hunters, so he's got to be tough.
Yeah, he's got to be tough.
Okay. Have you read the manhwa or anything like that, or you just watched the show?
No, I honestly am just getting into it. So uh, I have watched everything that's out now. I believe. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've watched all of the anime that's out.
I want to give you a tidbit of background on my man Baru, okay? Because if you don't know this, Solo Leveling is a Korean comic. That's why I keep saying manhwa instead of manga.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, in the comic, which I don't know if they're going to do with the season because they tone a lot of the comedy from the book down. Like in the book, there's a lot more funny moments,
Mm-hmm.
but he gets assigned to watch Jinwoo's mom. And so he's watching TV over her shoulder and he gets really into Korean dramas and starts speaking like he's in a Korean period drama. So he'll start calling Jinwoo my liege and stuff like that. And
That's
that's why I
awesome.
love him. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So
Okay.
you got a back to backers for 2 and 3.
Okay. So for 2 and 3, oh man, for number. Let's see, what else did I read this year? I'm trying to remember. Um. So I'm trying to decide. So he has POV lines. Yeah, I guess I won't do him. It's just so hard to pick anyone from the Stormlight Archive because like it's a multi POV
Mm-hmm.
like story. So it's like who is technically actually you know what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pick. Yeah, because I don't think because she's the POV in the other book. um,
That's
uh,
okay. As long as they're not a POV in every book, it's perfectly fine. Because you're going to have some that are going to be like more important in
yeah,
some novels than they are in others.
yeah, okay. Yeah, and she's not in some of the books. I will do Yasna Kolin. She is a Knight Radiant. She has a bunch of different abilities with that, but she has a shard blade. She and you'll learn more about that eventually, which I shouldn't have even said that because I just spoiled something for you. But hey, ignore
It's
all
okay.
that. Yeah, I will pick Yasna Kolin as my second pick. And as my third pick, you know what? I need a strategist sort of character. So I am going to get actually no, Yasna's enough of a strategist. What else did I do? I'm going to go with sorry, I'm just thinking. I'm going to go with the Thing from from the Fantastic Four. I think that as a straight up brawler, I think that he is an incredible pick for my number 3 pick.
That's yeah, that's good muscle. That is. That's a pure tank right there.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. And he's not an idiot either. He's a fighter pilot, so
Mm-hmm. And a gentle giant. You can't forget that.
exactly, he's got the finesse.
Hmm. So I'm making a 3 and a 4 pick. I got Cassius and Baru, who are both kind of more of a knight type character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need a strategist. Maybe I'll go. Huh. You know what? Since recency bias, obviously, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to know who this is, but I'm going Prince Verity
Okay.
from the Farseer trilogy. Um, he uses something called the skill, which is like a mental projection kind of thing in the books. Um, but I mean, he's a character like I could die for. He is a wonderfully written character. Robin Hobb is really good with her character work. Like the first half of Assassin's Apprentice, which is the first book in the whole series,
Mm-hmm.
I was just reading about Fitz, who's the main character, shoeing horses and taking care of the stables and stuff, and I was perfectly fine with it. Like
Yeah.
It was great. Like it's an investment. You get your cheap thrills and then you get your long burn. And I think Robin Hobb writes that long burn really well. And then you meet Burrich, who's one of the greatest characters of all. I'd die for him too. He almost made the list, but he's injured most of the book. So,
Yeah,
you can't go in with a handicap.
exactly.
So, pick four. I'm gonna have to go. And look, you said watch in 2025. It doesn't count that I've
Yeah.
been watching it since I was 10. I'm going Prince Vegeta,
Okay.
the Prince of all Saiyans,
Yeah.
whose story arc is one of my favorites. The redemption with the Majin Vegeta. I had that shirt on yesterday. It. I think people forget how complex anime can be with the story because you're
Hmm.
talking about a guy like Vegeta, and he was always so cocky and so sure of himself and so arrogant. But then you forget that he was raised in a warrior society where he was the prince.
Yeah.
Everybody worshipped him. He had his entire life taken from him and had to build himself back together with the help of Bulma, obviously. But like one of the greatest moments is, have you watched any Dragon Ball Z? Am I ruining anything for you?
No, I've watched a fair amount of it. I'm not all caught up on it, but I watched a fair amount of it.
Well, if you watched the Boo fight when he's Majin Vegeta, and even then, like Babbidi's like, "How can you resist my control?" And he's like, "I'm a Saiyan. You can't control me."
Yeah.
Um, when he's standing there and he knocks Trunks out to try to save him, and he gives him to Piccolo, and he's like, and at this point Goku's dead, and he's like, "Do you think I'm going to go where Goku's going?" And Piccolo's like, "No, buddy, you've done too much evil. You're not going where Goku is." And he's like, "It's whatever. It's my family," and it sacrifices himself. I
Yeah.
love that part.
That's awesome.
I'll leave it at that because I'll keep going. You don't want me
Okay.
ranting about Vegeta. I love Vegeta.
All right. I'm on my 4 or 5 picks, I believe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
rounding out your
Okay.
team.
Rounding out the team, I would be remiss if I didn't include a Mistborn on my team. So I'm going to go with Kelsier. Probably, yeah. He's a secondary character. He uh, is not in the second two Mistborn books, so I'm counting him as a secondary character or a supporting character. He is probably one of the most skilled allomancers out there, especially with steel pushing and iron pulling. Those are kind of his specialties, and he is incredibly powerful and goes on to become more powerful. But I'll just take Prime Kelsier in the main series. And for my number 5 pick, I'm going to pick Waximilian Ladrian. He is again a incredibly skilled allomancer. He also has another ability that I'm not going to spoil for you, but he has this other set of abilities that is incredibly powerful that you get introduced to as well. So my team from front to end is, who did I have as my number one? I had
Severo.
Se- uh, Severo Barca. I had Yasna. I had who was my 3?
The Thing.
Oh yeah, the thing. I had Kelsier and I had Wax. So that is my team from start to end. Who is the last member of your team?
Okay. So my one was Cassius.
Mm-hmm.
Cassius Al Bologna, or just Cassius Bologna in Lightbringer
Yeah,
because he ditches the gold.
yeah,
Baru from Solo Leveling. Prince Verity from the Farseer trilogy. Vegeta from Dragon Ball, everything other than Dragon Ball. And for my fifth, I'm torn between going with more of a mascot character or going with, my distance guy. My huh. I'm gonna have to go. You know what? I'm gonna go Rocky from Project Hail Mary.
yeah.
Have you read that book?
No, I'm waiting until the movie comes out. But the trailer got shown before a movie that I saw the other day, so it spoiled so much. I'm
It did.
actually
It
really bummed
did.
about that. Yeah. So
I was reading the book when the trailer came out, and I think I told you this. I deliberately didn't watch the trailer till I was done with the
yeah,
book, which is good
yeah,
because everybody said there was a spoiler, and I just knew it had to be him.
yeah,
Um, Not to ruin the story any, but he's a very intelligent, just as scientific mind as Ryland Grace. And if nothing else, his atmosphere kills people, so he could just pop his bubble and kill you with his atmosphere. So,
yeah.
because they live in like a superheated climate, so if he's not in his little bubble, then you're gonna melt. So,
Heck, I like that. So let us know down in the comments whose team is breaching the other team's castle. I think that these are incredibly fun. This was incredibly fun little draft that we did. I've really enjoyed this whole episode, but I fear that it is unfortunately time to wrap up our side quests and end our journey. But before we end off, Brandon, why don't you let the people know where they can find you?
I'm on TikTok and I have my own Discord, but you got to find me on TikTok if you want the Discord link, which is at Kuyon Reader, which is Couyon Reader. And I'm on Instagram, but I'm never on it. So find me on TikTok if you want to see me.
Yeah. Be sure to follow the Oracle podcast on TikTok and on YouTube and on Instagram, but I'm also rarely ever on Instagram. Uh, be sure to follow us on TikTok and YouTube. And thank you guys so much for watching, for everyone who has been watching along. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to listen or watch, and be sure to give us a rating wherever you are listening and follow us wherever you're listening. It really helps more people find us. And the best thing is word of mouth. So if you have someone who you know would enjoy this podcast, then be sure to share it with your friends. Anything to end out the pod from you, Brandon?
No, I've had fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Well, in that case, I'm Casey. This has been the Oracle Podcast, and that